What's up, Alex?
Not much. How you doing?
Good, man. I'm good. I'm excited for this. This is the episode 1 of the Interior Podcast.
This is interior.
This is interior, yeah, but interior is what I'm saying. And this is the interior.
It's fair.
Did I say that wrong?
Usually what we do every week is we'd say, welcome back to interior, welcome back to
But as the first episode of the whole podcast, this would be interior, exterior is what the name of the podcast is.
That's fair.
Highlighting interior today.
Okay.
What does interior mean?
Interior means someone within the industry.
Okay.
So rather than us just talking mindlessly about film for 45 minutes,
yeah,
we actually interview someone. And boy, today's guest, crazy.
I know you're probably thinking it's me, but I can interview this guy first, which is okay. Alex, tell me a bit about yourself first. What do you do?
My name's Alex. I'm an editor, full-time, freelance editor. On the side, I run Filmmetry.
And there goes your headphones.
Yeah, I'm so...
What's Filmmetry?
Filmmetry is my production company that I started in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
We used to just do short films. Now we do online content, client work, essentially anything you can think of.
Cool.
Full-time, though, I'm an editor. So I do commercial work, editing trailers, holiday ads, YouTube ads.
Video games. I saw you used video game stuff before,
video
too.
Video games. Whatever. It's a grab bag.
Yeah. That's cool, bro. That's cool. Now we get out the way. You guys know what he does. To be honest, bro, when I first met you, like 5 years ago. And what was it? The film was Cake Writer, a small short film you wrote. And I was kind of just getting back on my feet, and I was looking for some work to do. Kind of just like a low budget short film, like a fun piece. And I met you for the first time. And getting to know you a little bit, I didn't realize how young you were at the time. I think you were like 19 or 18 or 19 or something.
Yeah, 19.
And you, I enjoyed working with you on set. And then I found out how old you were, and then how many projects you had done already.
Yeah.
You had done like 15 films or something crazy. And I was like, I'm holding on to this guy, and I'm not letting him go. Well, because I was very ambitious myself in making. I had a lot of film ideas, and I wanted a lot coming up, and yeah, we've kind of been together since. Yeah. But in that time, to my question, in that time, I've got to learn a lot more about you, and just how hardworking you actually are. And I honestly, I couldn't find myself doing what you do. Better you than me when you're sitting at that desk for 15, 16, 17 hours. But how do you push through?
I mean, I'm usually stuck in the basement for, like you said, 16, 17 hours. And some days it adds up, like hours on hours. It just feels like, I don't know, it feels never ending. I think the motivation is always the final product.
Yeah.
But I've recently found in the last few weeks or months of us planning this, like to do Filmmetry, I realized that I'm not satisfied editing other people's stuff, and so, over the years, at first, obviously editing was really exciting, and it was like, wow, I get to do this or I get to do that.
Yeah.
But then I realized there's a difference between editing for yourself and editing for someone else. Like, don't get me wrong, I love editing, and I love getting someone's vision out there and, putting it together. It's like putting together a puzzle where the pieces don't fit. You know what I mean? So usually my motivation is like that final result. But like I said, over the last few, months, weeks, it's felt like a lot. So I'm happy that we're doing our own thing and not
100%, buddy. I'm looking forward to actually being behind the camera a little bit too. In that process,
I really want to see you behind the camera, because it's funny because now I'm in front and you're obviously still in front, but I want to do a short where it's flipped.
Yeah,
in the future.
No, 100%.
I don't know how good I am as an actor. I mean, when I was younger, I wanted to be an actor, but now I'm more comfortable behind the camera than in front of it. So
yeah, it's okay. We can do some like Tarantino things. You always, from moving forward, you always have a small part in the films. No problem. Cameos.
There you go.
No, but that's the 100% truth, man. Like you're one of the hardest workers I know, and that's why. Like I've tried many different avenues in life, and gone down many roads, and I've tried to partner up with people for certain ventures, this and that, or films, but things just don't seem to work out. It's very hard to find a partner who one believes in the same vision you have, works as hard as you, and is fair, honest, all those qualities that we want in like a partner, in like a romantic situation. You want it as a partner in business, and I've kind of found that with you, and and I think we got something special starting up here. So
yeah, I think there's a huge part of it's commitment. I feel like a lot of people say things, but they never commit to it.
Yeah, we've already had some of those people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I don't know. For me, I've always wanted filmmetry to be a thing. So it's like, if that's what my goal is, I don't care what stands in my way.
Yeah,
I'll get there.
100%.
You know,
100%.
So I'm willing to put in the time and the hours.
Well, kind of going into my next question too. So what actually keeps you hungry? Like, what actually keeps you moving?
I think it's funny because I always thought that my idea of success was validated by the awards that I won, or like whatever accolades I could get. But then I slowly started to realize, as I was watching more and more films, there were films that I was like, wow, if I had made like a Shawshank, or like, you know, one of those big films, or one of those films that impacted me, but for someone else, that means a whole lot more than an award to me, because it's like, you've left your mark on cinema, you've left your mark in film, even if it's one film. And like, I don't know, I like the idea of someone going into watching our films, or like when we get to the point where they're in theaters, and I like the idea of someone being impacted by it, you know, whether it be, you know, saying, wow, I wish I was more like that, or wow, this is me, like, you know what I mean? Absolutely.
So I've kind of learned that as I went too, because for me, I've learned that there's really no destination.
No.
You know what I mean? Like there's those awards, those best actor awards, or the best film, screenplay, Oscar, Golden Globe, any of those things we want, like, to achieve. But once we get there, then what?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I've learned that I really enjoy the process, making films and being in films. I don't care about the destination as much, as long as I'm in the moment and enjoying it. You know, and life's a lot more beautiful like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a firm believer that as long as you're constantly moving, as long as you're constantly growing, and you're not staying stagnant, that's what's amazing to witness. Because suddenly you look back and you see what you made like 4 years ago, and you're like, holy cow, you know?
100%.
How different it is.
I see some work I've done from 4 or 5 years ago. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, even like the films even Cake Writer, when I watch it now, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I could have done this better. I could have done that 100%. Better.
Even a film I did last week, I'd be like, I watch it and be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have such a big lunch that day. You know, there's always something, but I think that's what we are as artists and creatives.
We're our worst critics.
100%, man. I'm horrible like that.
Well,
speaking about actors and working with actors, what are some challenges you've faced working with actors?
I think,
or let me rephrase that. Challenges you find with trying to direct an actor into your vision and how you see that character. And it's very hard to like translate. There's so many different acting coaches and strategies and theories and techniques and all this stuff. Yeah. Speak with an actor to try to get them to deliver the performance that you're looking for.
I think it's funny because when I started making short films, I never considered, a lot of people do like, obviously non-union, but they start out as students working through university or through school doing short films, and then they grow to that level where they're more professional on set and you have like a union. But for me, it was like, I want to make films, and like I kind of jumped into the deep end in the sense, because I was like, okay, I'm going to direct and I'm going to hire a bunch of people and we're all going to do this. And what I realized was I didn't know what I was doing half the time. I think the more films I get to direct, the more I get comfortable with working with actors. I know there's certain people like Graham. We both know Graham. Graham is very comfortable working with actors because he wrote it a certain way. When I write a script, I'm thinking of character, but for me, it's hard to translate. And this is just in general, like everyday life. It's hard for me to translate what I'm thinking into words. But a method that I've found that works almost universally with actors, and I don't even know if this is like a proven method or whatever, but I try to get them to relate a feeling. Imagine that you just came home and you found that your spouse, who you've been married to for 4 years, has someone else in the bed with her, or him.
Well, you know what? I think that when you, as an actor and as a director coaching an actor, I think that as long as you just bring it back to real life,
that's
make it pretty simple.
Exactly.
Simplify things. Like if that's the case, like if you did come home, and your wife was with another, in that situation, like how are you gonna feel? Actually break down put yourself in that moment. I think some people try to find this like esoteric nonsense of getting to that place or that spot, and it's not how it is. And then you don't see authentic work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And there's different things too where this is not me as a director, but I don't like it when every single syllable or something has to have an inflection to it. So directors will come into it, and it's fine. You have your vision. You want to execute it in a specific way. But I hate the fact that, me personally, directing, I hate the fact when people come into it and they say, well, okay, your line is, I'm going to go to the grocery store. And they say, okay, well, I'm is delivered like this, going is like this. And they put so much complexity to like delivering a simple line that suddenly the actor feels like they're stuck, not having the freedom to deliver it in a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I've worked with directors like that.
Yeah, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with being like specific about what you want. I know I do inflections, but for certain words.
Yeah.
But overall, I don't know. I like the idea of having actors play around with it, see how it feels. I know I've changed a bunch of lines when we've been on set, and I'm like, I don't like how this sounds, or I don't like how this works. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and I think the more you do it, and the more like nailing it down you do. Like if a director does like 14 takes with an actor, trying to get the right inflection or trying to get the right thing, it doesn't feel as genuine as the first 2 times, right? Because the first 2 times it feels new, it feels fresh.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
You have to maintain some sort of that. Yeah.
Okay, what do you? It's kind of a strange question, but I'm trying to relate it back to film best I can. But what are some of your fears as a filmmaker that you face, or that you've maybe faced, or moving forward that you?
I have this constant, and this might sound really stupid, but I have this constant fear that I don't know what I'm doing. Even if like it doesn't matter how confident I am behind a camera or in editing, there will be moments where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm scared that I'm going to get that one assignment or that one thing that I have to do where suddenly nothing makes sense anymore.
You know what I think that's called?
What?
I think it's called being human.
Well, that's fair.
It's being human, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't matter how much I learn. I'm never like at that point where I'm comfortable with something.
Yeah.
I go into a shoot. It could be something as small as like, shooting a pencil or something. I don't know, something random. But I go into that with this crazy amount of fear until I step onto set. And then it's like nothing, everything goes away.
Yeah.
But it's leading up to it. I think that's the anxiety and everything that comes into it.
I don't think you're alone with that. I think that happens to everybody in every area.
Yeah.
Over time you get obviously more confident.
Yeah.
But I even hear things like from an acting standpoint. I've watched things like with like Al Pacino or was it Sean Penn, saying like he's terrified. Some scenes he comes to set terrified, and we idolize these people. Yeah. And their performance they've done, and like they're terrified of delivering this performance or finding this character, being authentic. I think it's a natural fear.
Yeah, and I think specifically the directing side of things, that one scares me the most because it's like you're
the boss,
you're
the
the one that everyone depends on.
Yeah, you're the captain.
So if everyone has a question about something, you have to have the answers.
It's big shoes to fill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I have that constant fear in my head of like, what if someone asks me something I just don't know, and then everybody's stuck there looking at me like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I've gotten better with it. Like I've come up with solutions really quick term. I like that feeling. I like that feeling of like we have to make a decision because that's when I'm like forced to make something. Because I think we get it. This is like universal. I think within film, whether you're an actor, or director, or whatever, creative, or an artist, I think a lot of people they'll start to doubt their own thinking, or they'll start to doubt their own work. So what I mean by that is like if I'm thinking, well, maybe we should do this kind of lighting or maybe we should do this kind of lighting, and I think too much about it, suddenly my entire idea falls apart because I can't make a decision because I have time to decide, and I have time to think about it. But the more I think about it, the more damaging it is to the project. So I think sometimes it's better to be like, okay, well, I'm placing a deadline on myself to make whether it's to write a script or to make a decision, just so I can move forward past it. Because the more I think about it, the more I dwell in it, and the more, controlled it feels. It doesn't feel,
Yeah.
And
get it done, get out the way.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of like that unknown behind the curtain.
Exactly.
And you open the curtain, you're like, well, this is what I was.
Yeah.
What's all this crap? It's just pretty simple, It all comes down to preparation too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Like even like in the past, like simple job interview. Like even if you like if it's a job interview's on Thursday.
Yeah.
Go Wednesday, drive by the building. Look what the building looks like you're going into. So when you get there, you know where the parking is.
Exactly.
Little things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you want a coffee beforehand? Well, there's the Timmy's right there. Have a coffee, maybe go over some stuff. Just prepare yourself. get as familiar as you can with the script, the set, the crew, everybody you can, and then I think it comes. I feel a lot better.
I think a lot of my shortcomings as a creative come in preparation. I mean, I think the thing is like there'll be moments where I'm like, I want to shoot something right now. And, you know, I'll write, and I've done it in the past where I've written a script and the next day I'm like going to shoot the film and I don't do multiple drafts and I don't do thinking and whatever. And then it ends up coming back to bite me because I'm like, well, this doesn't make any sense or this doesn't work.
Yeah.
But there's been instances like Pyrenees, right?
Yeah.
What we did together where I spent a solid 2 months doing pre-production and it made production the smoothest it was ever, you know? And I loved it. I loved creating. There's something weird about like putting together schedules and like, oh, they're available this day or they're available that day. Yeah. It's so cool to me to put them together.
The process. Yeah.
So the more I've done pre-production, the more I've liked it. And I think the more prep you do into something, the more successful it becomes because you've thought of every angle.
100%.
So, yeah.
Nice. Like as a filmmaker, do you believe that you have like a responsibility to culture? Do you feel that being like a creative person requires you to give back or like tell particular stories or not tell particular stories?
I think I think we as filmmakers have a platform like anybody else. Like a lot of influencers have platforms. Anybody that can, you know, make something that will impact people. I think we have a responsibility because we have a platform to tell stories. And I think from a young age, even the first short films I ever made, they were all focused on things like really harsh, dark stuff that not a lot of people talked about, you know. And I wasn't doing it to be edgy. I was doing it because I never saw films when I was growing up that had to deal with like mental health or suicide or things like that. And I think if you have a platform to show people something, to educate someone, I think you should use it. I think you should make films that, there's nothing wrong with feel-good films or films like fantasy or things to escape the reality of the world because the world is a harsh place. It's a terrible place. But I think it can be. It can also be great.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is I think there's also a responsibility to tell stories that might make people more aware of certain topics or might make people more understanding that there's people out there that aren't as privileged or aren't as lucky, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's what I think. I'm not saying every film has to be that, but I think
No, I get. I'm the same way. Like you've seen this, some of the ideas I have for film, you know, and it's I kind of have this not obsession, but like I like to tell stories about like the dark corners of life.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I feel like there's just stories that need to be told, especially if you live through some and you experience them. That's what you know.
And plus, there's a lot of audience members that like that haven't seen films like that or like go through things. And you know, sometimes it's nice, at least for me, to see in a film someone that's like me or someone that might be going through something that I went through, because there's a feeling of comfort in that.
Absolutely.
And I think if you can make that connection in your films to the audience, I think it's a very powerful thing. And it's something that no one else can make. That's why I love film, because you can make that connection, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, someone said something the other day. I forget who it was. My cousin or something. She's like, yeah, I just wish I was in like Hogwarts. I could go to Hogwarts, you know, in Harry Potter. I was like, I just wish, it looks like so cool. I just want to go to Hogwarts. Wouldn't you? I was like, I'm like, that's why I have the best job in the world. Because really, I get the opportunity to be anybody.
That was the thing. I said
anybody.
I said the same thing to my parents because they were like, "Why do you want to be I said if I wasn't a filmmaker, I'd be like a detective or someone in marketing or whatever. And then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? But I'm a director. I can make films about whatever I want to be. If I want to learn how to be a police officer, I can make a film about it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, shit, before I die, I could be everything.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I could cop, police officer, I could live in some fantasy world, I can do everything.
You can be an astronaut, you can be whatever you want.
Just tell stories, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's what I'm saying. So
yeah, I love what we do.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into that too much. I would like to know, like, where do you see yourself in like 2-3 years with Filmmetry and yourself? Where would you like to see yourself?
I want us to have more opportunity within 2 or 3 years. I think that's the best answer, because I think right now, obviously, we do have opportunities, but I want us to grow to the point where we can, you know, do things that we weren't able to do, either because of budget or because of whatever, whether it be films or our client projects or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just want to see growth. I think rather than saying like, I want us to have this or this, I just like the idea of having opportunity. I think the more we do this, the more, I don't know, natural it'll become, and more we'll grow and get better at it.
Yeah, I think there's so many opportunities.
Yeah.
And just like we talked about the journey.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see how it goes.
And I think for me personally, I like to do things within film where I'm comfortable. Like editing, I'm very comfortable with. But I want to see myself growing and doing things that I'm not as comfortable in. You know, whether it be, I know that I'm not as good in audio, sound. I'm not good at lighting that much. So working on things that I'm not as comfortable in, and just continuing to grow. I think I'll be pretty happy with myself if I feel as though my ability has grown over the next 2 years.
Yeah. I like that.
I don't know. And I think overall, I want us to be happy about what we make. I don't want us to be like, oh, we got to film this, or oh, we got to do this.
Yeah, 100%.
I think there should be a sense of authenticity.
Sure. You know what? How do you know?
Yeah.
It's one of the last questions I want to ask you, but how do you know when you have that right idea? You're just talking about like that idea that you want to make. How do you know?
I think for me, it's different for a lot of different people, but I think for me, if that idea can't get out of my head, so like I'll have a lot of my ideas randomly come in two places, either while I'm showering or while I'm sleeping or at night, like when I'm in bed.
Yeah.
And then I'll have an idea, and if it there's different stages to it. The first stage is if I have a dream or if I have a concept that I randomly come up with in my head trying to fall asleep. And the first stage is if I have to get up to get a piece of paper and a pencil that's already past the first stage. I'm like, okay, well now this is an idea written on paper. If I don't think it's good enough for a paper, then it's out. And then after that, I'll write it, and more often than not, I'll wake up the next morning, read what I wrote, and be like, this is the worst thing I've ever come up with. Like, I'm like, it's funny because in the moment I'll be like, oh my God, this would be the greatest idea. Like, we should do this.
I can't go to sleep. I have to get this done now.
It's like, I have to make this like right now. And then you wake up and you've written something about like, you know, man meets a cheetah at a zoo, and you're like, what is this?
Cheetos commercial.
Yeah, exactly. So it divulges into nothing. So that's the second part. The second stage is if the idea is still good the next morning, and if a week passes and I haven't stopped thinking of that idea or adding to it, then I know that I want to commit to it. And I've had it where I've had ideas that like I haven't made yet, but are ones that we want to make that I've had for like 2 years because I'm like, this idea, I know I want to do it.
Me too, man. Just sits there, and exactly. I just know. And it also comes down to, for me, like, people need to hear the story.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
You know, one in particular that I've been working on, it's a true story, and I really have to, you know, do it well enough to pay respect and show to the people and to the families. You know what I mean? So it takes time, but that's also beautiful. I love like the research. Yeah. You know what I mean? I love the research. I love like the location scouting, but you know, just the excitement of the whole process. Yeah. Going to sit down with families and speak to them about the situation and how they went through and what was he like as a person, you know, and then trying to play those characters. You know, I got this one big project in my mind right now that I'm speaking of, but the whole process is just so exciting.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize that, like, I don't know. For me, at least, you can't love one independent part of filmmaking. I think I truly enjoy every step of it because every step of it has new challenges and new things. Like pre-production, at first, I'm like, oh God, I don't want to do pre-production. Like, this is Jesus. But then you start to like it. Like I said, you start putting those pieces together, and then it works. And then shooting's always fun. I think the important thing while shooting is to surround yourself with people that you want to work with. So if I have like the crew that I always work with, or I have people that I know and I love to work with, and it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like a couple of friends getting together to make something. Yeah.
No, we've had we've done well with that, actually. We've had some good luck. Yeah. With the crew we got and with the films we've done so far.
Yeah. I think I'm under that thing. If I don't like someone, or if I don't like how they are on set, they're not coming back. Yeah. You know? Because making films is hard, but it only gets harder if you're, you know, having to deal with someone else's attitude or ego. Inside of it. That's the same with actors. Like, I mean, I think you know this. Like, if you put your best foot forward on a set, regardless of what the production is, whether it's non-union or union. I mean, I've had actors that their egos are so big that once they step on a non-union set, suddenly they feel like they're better than everyone else. You know, I like the fact that, you know, actors can come onto set and they show humility. They show like that they're not above everyone else, you know?
Yeah.
And you're good for that because you I remember when we worked on Cake Writer, like you were like, let me help you carry this, or let me help you with the lights, or let me help you with this.
Well, I think it comes down to it's just a collaborative effort.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
You know, I'm not here to, you know, be one of those people that just demand stuff. Like even now, when I get on set, and I got like the 80 knocking on my trailer, be like, you know, Miss Cormier, give you coffee or this. I'm like, no, where's craft? I'll go get it. Like, no. I'm like, no, let me go. I can go get it. I have a problem. I just don't like having that feeling that like people are catering to me.
Yeah,
I never liked it, and I don't want to make people feel like that. Even like I've been on sets and I got friends on BG.
Yeah,
you know, and I go over there and I see them. I'm like, yo, I'll be over in the BG section in a second. Like when I finish up, I get over there, and then like an AD comes over and is like super rude to me. Yeah. Like, why am I not on set? Like, BG needs to be over there. I was like, I'm not doing.
You don't do it.
I'm not BG. I'm just sitting here talking to my friends, and like, I don't really care. I'll have lunch with them and stuff. It's like, I don't care, man. It's just part of the process of the whole process. I mean, of making a film and being on set, and like, very lucky to do what we do.
Yeah, if you're lucky enough to be making a film, regardless of budget, if you're just lucky to have people around that want to, you know, help you make your vision or whatever it is, whether it ends up good or bad. You know, I think if you go into it and you go in with a positive attitude and you're the kind of person that people like on set, or like, you know, if you grow that community on set, those memories won't go away until like, or they never will, essentially. You know what I mean? Like it's a memorable thing. I think some of my favorite films that we've made, or like even short films in general, I remember the production more than I remember the final film. So
those are some of the best parts too.
Exactly.
So everyone's staying in a small house. Everyone's sleeping on the floor.
Yeah.
You know, waking up super early to go shoot, and everyone's tired. We had pizza and beer all night, and it's good, man.
So, yeah,
man. Yeah, this is pretty cool, dude.
Yeah,
I'm happy that we get to do this.
Me too.
Just getting things going here, but
get the wheel moving.
Yeah. This is only the first episode, and I feel like you're getting all the kinks out. I feel like we're
trying.
Yeah.
I will see how the audio and the video.
Oh, dude, you'll be an expert in front of the mic, in front of the camera in no time, dude.
No, I'm gonna be in editing, and I'm gonna look at myself like, this is the worst thing I've ever. Why did I say that?
I might have to come in there with you. I'm gonna notice that this is gonna be on this take the whole time. Rob's close up the whole time.
It's a 45-minute thing, but it's now 20 minutes. It's just you Rob talking and nothing.
Yeah. Nah, man,
cut myself out of it.
No, this is good, dude. This is good.
No, I like the questions. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah.
Now I get to do yours.
Let's do it.
That'll be next time. Sounds good. Well, take care. Robert Cormier.
You too, buddy.